Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is Saturday, April 19th, 2025, at least on the East Coast of USA. I don't have a lot to talk about today. I did have a question about yesterday's blog post from the PyCore team, which I just want to throw out there and get your opinions on. I also have something that has been on the rumor mill lately that I'll mention briefly. I also have some user comments that I want to address. But before that, let's go over the daily metrics. The current circulating supply is 6.91 billion pi, with 10.9 million pi migrated in the last 24 hours. There is 42 million pi in the Pi migration wallet. The migrated unlocked rewards are at 1.77 billion, with 7.2 million unlocked Pi now free to trade on the open market. Looking at the price action, we see a little bit of good news here. The Pi coin is currently trading at just under 65 cents with a market cap of $4.46 billion, which is up 4.57% from this time 24 hours ago. The current trading volume is at $150.9 million, which is up 50% from this time yesterday. Still pretty low volume. It's a modest gain, and I like that. They're obviously reacting to the positive news that came out yesterday. And we can see the surge here. We went from around 62 cents, peaking at about 66 cents, dropping a little bit here, and then kind of stabilizing between 64 and 66 cents. I like that. That's good. As always, be careful. Market volume is still pretty low. Make sure you set your stop losses and don't trade anything that you couldn't afford to lose. On the rumor mill, the last couple of days, there's been some talk about the Pi coin listing on the HTX exchange. At this point, it's just a rumor. Someone had mentioned that they saw a small Pi symbol in an image for HTX. Who knows? Maybe there's something brewing in the background. HTX was established in 2013, and it services 45 million users in 160 countries. If this is true, it would be a significant boon for the Pi coin, so we'll just have to keep an eye on that. We talked extensively about the blog posts from the PyCore team yesterday. Overall, it was great news. The clarifications on migrations and the vestiture for the separate buckets of Pi that are allocated for different purposes was very useful. The vestiture schedule was something that, even though it was in the white paper, some of the naysayers were using as a criticism for the lack of transparency from the PyCore team. It was said that second migrations will begin after first migrations have completed. That sounds great, but there's a problem. What happens when new people come in, which is happening all of the time, and they are waiting on first migration? On the surface, it sounds like there'd always be people waiting for migration the first time. There would never be an opportunity to start the second migrations. That can't be right. But I would like some clarification on exactly how that works. It's almost bringing me back to my original point that there is no hard separation between first and second migration. They probably have drawn a line in the sand at some date that says that all first migrations up to this point need to happen before we start processing second migrations. I don't really know. And I'm trying to get some clarity on if I get anything. I'll be back to let you guys know. It's a curiosity. I know it can't work the way it's literally said. I'd like to get a little bit more. Addressing some user comments, this user says, further to my previous post, there are a number of Pi influencers who specialize in being negative. I've no time for them. Me neither. They're like debunkers, right? They don't want to hear about the facts. They don't care about how wrong they are. They only care about getting their views out, and their views have already been established regardless of the facts. They are a waste of time. Take note, be positive but realistic. That's the best way. I agree. I try to be positive all the time. If something's not right, I'll say so. But I have no need to join the bashers. There's plenty of them out there. At the end of the day, I believe in the project, and I have not seen anything to suggest that this is a scam or a rug pull. Things may not be moving the way everyone would like it to move, but we have no idea what's going on in the background or how complex all of this really is. Thanks for the comment. This user says, I've been mining since 2022. My KYC slot was always unavailable. Yesterday it became available. I submitted it. In 5 minutes it was approved, and I applied to be validator in 10 minutes. A lot of people have been complaining about lack of KYC slots. You have to remember, after Pi went open mainnet, there was a lot of activity. It was the most downloaded app on the Google and Apple app stores for days. Millions of people flooded this app to mine free Picoin. That's going to create a lot of pressure on KYC, especially around now where their 30 mining session days is up. So now they're eligible for KYC. So yeah, a lot of people are complaining about lack of slots. The one thing I will tell you is that I've heard a lot of stories about people being more successful by trying it at different times, especially late nights and early mornings. So don't give up, keep trying. Thanks for the comment. I love these comments, so I try not to sprinkle them in too much because I don't want to get a swollen head. This user says, Hi Dave, you offer a great deal of transparent info. I try. But above all, I love your motivational speeches about the Pi network. It is just wonderful and very inspiring, which makes you one of my favorite YouTubers on the subject. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad that you enjoy what I'm doing. Not blind faith, but common sense. You are a sincere communicator, and I love that. Hugs to me. Why, thank you very much. Who doesn't need more hugs? I will say up front, there's no doubt about it, I am biased. I believe in this project. So I'm not going to come at people with the attitude that you have to prove to me that this project is real. I know it's real. I've been in it for 6 years. You can't question that it's real if you're involved in it. Obviously, it's real. Now, whether all of the promises made, well, what promises have they made, really? The only real promise is that you got free crypto, and they've delivered on that for 6 years, as far as I'm concerned. Whether you can ever do anything with it, they never promised that. They said what their goal was, which was to be able to use it for purchasing items and goods and services and all that. People are already doing that to some extent, and I imagine that will continue. What they never said was that you were going to get rich and live comfortably for the rest of your lives by only holding a few Picoin. They never promised that. But I do try to stay objective without overhyping the project because they're not perfect. They make a lot of mistakes, but I believe in what they're doing. I know a lot of cryptos have tried this in the past and have not been successful. I think they're on the right track. I think they've made a lot of good decisions. But at the end of the day, they got one major hurdle to get over, and that's governments. Governments don't want decentralized currencies. Their economies run by their ability to control their own currencies. It's really hard to manipulate markets if you don't control the currency. Even harder to fund unpopular wars or unpopular projects if you can't print your own money. That's going to be a big one. I'm not sure how they're going to navigate that in the long term. But at the end of the day, I'm just some dude in front of a computer. I'm no expert. I just share what I know. And if you appreciate that and you get something out of that, that's great. Thank you very much. Well, that's all I have today. It's a very short news day, not much to report, but I wanted to get it out there and let you know that I've still got my eye on the pulse of the Pi network. And if anything breaks, I'll be sure to let you know. But in the meantime, don't panic, stay the course, and remember, the success of the Pi network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.